Welcome back to our channel. This rare 1-cent penny could be worth thousands. Like, share, and subscribe for more coin secrets. The year 1976 holds a special place in the history of the United States. It was the year the nation celebrated its bicentennial, the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Across the country, Americans gathered to reflect on their nation's journey, its struggles, triumphs, and the incredible evolution of its identity. From parades to fireworks, from monumental speeches to artistic tributes, 1976 was a year of celebration. In the midst of this monumental event, the United States Mint was busy with a task that would go largely unnoticed: producing the 1-cent penny. While the penny itself might seem insignificant in the grand scheme of the bicentennial celebrations, it carried with it the weight of history and the spirit of the occasion. This particular penny, minted in 1976, was part of a broader initiative to mark the country's 200th year of independence. The coin itself, however, would go on to become a symbol of something entirely different, an artifact of a rare and pivotal moment in American history. The 1976 1-cent penny might look similar to its predecessors at first glance. The familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, etched by Victor David Brenner, still graces the obverse side. This iconic portrait of Lincoln has been the face of the penny since 1909, a reminder of the nation's greatest president and the ideals he fought for. However, it was the reverse side of the coin that set this particular penny apart from the others. The 1976 penny featured a special reverse design, an image of the bicentennial-themed draped flag, which symbolized the nation's victory and freedom. This design, created by the talented engraver Dennis R. Williams, was a tribute to the 2 centuries of American independence. The coin's special design was part of a broader minting effort to produce commemorative currency that would honor the nation's history, and the 1976 penny was among the most significant of these efforts. While the bicentennial theme was intended to inspire national pride, most people at the time didn't realize the impact the 1976 penny would have on numismatics in the future. It seemed like just another penny to most Americans, a common coin that circulated daily, rarely given a second thought. Yet, as the years went by and the coin circulation dwindled, some keen-eyed collectors began to notice something unique about the 1976 penny. As with all coins, wear and tear were inevitable, and most pennies showed signs of use, their edges worn down, their designs softened by countless exchanges in the hands of everyday people. But among these worn coins, a rare few remained in near-perfect condition. It was these pristine examples, untouched by time, that sparked a surge in interest among collectors. And it wasn't long before the 1976 1-cent penny began to capture the attention of numismatists. These flawless coins, free from the marks and imperfections of everyday circulation, would become highly sought-after treasures in the numismatic world. The heart of this phenomenon was the simple fact that there were very few 1976 pennies left in mint condition. Due to the high volume of pennies minted in that year, most had long since been discarded, lost, or tarnished. But a small handful of pristine examples remained, hidden in coin collections, old change jars, and even in the backs of drawers where they had been forgotten over time. For those fortunate enough to find one of these perfectly preserved 1976 pennies, the rewards were astonishing. The coin, which had once been worth just 1 cent, could now fetch tens of thousands of dollars at auction. These pennies were no longer just currency. They were rare relics of a pivotal year in American history, pieces of the past that had survived the passage of time. A flawless 1976 1-cent penny, especially one in uncirculated condition, can now command anywhere from $60,000 to $125,000. The value of these coins has risen exponentially, making them some of the most valuable pennies in existence. In fact, the 1976 penny has become one of the most coveted pieces in modern coin collecting, and collectors eagerly search for any hint of these rare, flawless coins. But what makes these pennies so valuable? Why has a simple 1-cent coin become worth so much? The answer lies in its rarity and historical significance. Although millions of 1976 pennies were minted, only a small number managed to survive in pristine, uncirculated condition. These coins, once part of the daily life of Americans, are now viewed as tangible links to an important era in the nation's history. They are time capsules, preserving the spirit of the bicentennial celebration and the optimism that defined that moment in time. For many collectors, the thrill of discovering a flawless 1976 penny is akin to uncovering a hidden treasure. These coins are not just valuable because of their rarity. They are valuable because they represent the intersection of history, culture, and the passage of time. Each one tells a story of an era long past, a time when the United States was celebrating its 200th year of independence and looking toward a future filled with promise and possibility. And so, as the years continue to pass, the 1976 one-cent penny remains a powerful symbol of both American history and the world of coin collecting. For those who are lucky enough to come across one of these rare gems, it represents more than just monetary value. It represents a piece of the American spirit, a connection to a time when the nation was united in celebration, and a tangible reminder of the enduring legacy of independence. The next time you hold a 1976 penny in your hand, take a moment to reflect on its significance. It's more than just a piece of change. It's a piece of history, a treasure that has weathered the storm of time. And who knows? If you're fortunate enough to find one in perfect condition, you might just hold a coin worth between $60,000 and $125,000, a rare artifact that holds the legacy of a nation in your palm. The year 1997 may seem like a distant memory, but for those who pay attention to the world of rare coins, it marks a significant chapter in the history of American currency. While most people view pennies as mere pocket change, the 1997 one-cent penny stands out as one of the most remarkable and valuable coins that many people may overlook. In the late 20th century, the United States was transitioning through a variety of economic and cultural shifts. The country was in the midst of the technological revolution, with the internet beginning to change the way people interacted with the world. It was also a time when American currency continued to evolve, with the penny still serving as the smallest denomination in circulation. Yet, while 1997 saw many changes and innovations in the United States, something subtle but significant was happening with the one-cent penny. Most people used them without a second thought, exchanging them for snacks or tolls. But in the coin-collecting world, the 1997 penny was about to enter the spotlight. At first glance, the 1997 penny appears much like any other penny from the modern era. It features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, which has graced the coin since 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner, Lincoln's likeness has been a symbol of leadership, courage, and freedom for over a century. On the reverse side, the famous memorial building continues to appear, a tribute to the United States' 16th President and the nation he helped guide through one of its most challenging periods. However, it is not the design of the 1997 penny that sets it apart from the others. It's the rarity of perfect specimens in circulation that caught the attention of coin collectors. While the design itself remained unchanged, the number of coins minted in 1997 was substantial, and as with most pennies, these coins circulated widely. But as time passed, a special subset of 1997 pennies started to emerge, those that were in pristine, uncirculated condition. Coin collectors have long been fascinated by pennies that show little to no signs of wear and tear. Most coins, especially those in circulation for years, become scratched, tarnished, or faded over time. However, those few that remain untouched by time or human handling become incredibly valuable, particularly when they come from a year as significant as 1997. With a slight increase in demand for modern coins, these well-preserved pennies gained recognition and allure. Collectors soon realized that the 1997 penny, when found in flawless condition, was an extraordinary find. In particular, the coins that had been kept safe in collections or found among old change stashes became highly sought after. This was not just due to their age or rarity, but also because of the historical significance they represented. As more collectors began to track down these elusive 1997 pennies, the price of mint-condition coins began to rise dramatically. Some of the most pristine examples, those that have been carefully preserved and untouched by the passage of time, began to command impressive prices. As word spread within the numismatic community, auctions saw some 1997 pennies selling for tens of thousands of dollars, far exceeding their original value of just 1 cent. These rare, uncirculated 1997 pennies quickly became known as hidden gems in the world of coin collecting. Their flawless condition made them desirable to collectors, who were willing to pay top dollar for a piece of American history that had survived in near-perfect form. Today, a well-preserved 1997 1-cent penny can fetch anywhere from $45,000 to $90,000 at auction, depending on its condition, provenance, and the market demand at the time of sale. This price range reflects the rarity and desirability of these pennies, which are now seen as valuable artifacts from a time of transformation in American culture and currency. But what exactly makes the 1997 penny so valuable? Why does this seemingly insignificant coin command such a high price? The answer lies in the rarity of high-grade specimens and their connection to the growing interest in modern coins. Though millions of 1997 pennies were minted, only a small number of them have survived in pristine condition. Coins that have been stored carefully, never subjected to circulation, and maintained in a perfect state are the ones that attract collectors and investors alike. Moreover, the 1997 penny stands as a testament to the transition of the 20th century into the 21st. It is a coin that bridges the past and the future, representing a period when the United States was on the cusp of technological change, while also holding a connection to the historical legacy of Abraham Lincoln and the enduring importance of the penny in American life. For those who are lucky enough to come across a 1997 penny in flawless condition, it's not just a coin, it's a rare piece of history, a symbol of the times, and a valuable collectible. As the years go by, the price of these pennies is likely to continue climbing, as more collectors seek to add them to their collections and fewer high-quality specimens remain. In the world of coin collecting, the value of a coin is not always determined by how rare it is in terms of mintage. Sometimes, it's about how well a coin has stood the test of time, how well it has been preserved, and the story it tells. The 1997 1-cent penny is a perfect example of this principle. Though it was produced in large numbers, the few perfect specimens that remain tell a story of a rapidly changing world, of the small but significant role that pennies play in everyday life, and of the enduring appeal of rare and valuable coins. If you're ever fortunate enough to stumble upon a pristine 1997 penny, don't let it slip through your fingers. What might seem like a small, insignificant coin could very well be the key to unlocking a valuable piece of American history, worth anywhere from $45,000 to $90,000. The year 1968 was one of profound change and turmoil across the United States. It was a time of social upheaval, political tension, and cultural revolution. The country was in the midst of the Vietnam War, protests were on the rise, and there was an increasing demand for civil rights and equality. Against this backdrop, the 1-cent penny, a coin often overlooked by the general public, was quietly undergoing its own transformation, one that would later lead to its place in numismatic history. While most people in 1968 would have seen the penny as just another small piece of everyday currency, a few astute collectors would eventually realize that the 1968 1-cent penny was destined to become a rare and highly sought-after collectible. It wasn't until years later that the full significance of the 1968 penny would be understood, and its value would skyrocket. The design of the 1968 penny was no different from the pennies of the preceding decades. Featuring the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, the penny had been a symbol of the United States for nearly 6 decades. The reverse side of the coin depicted the familiar image of the Lincoln Memorial, a tribute to the 16th president who had guided the nation through its most challenging period, much like how the United States was being tested again in 1968. Yet, despite the familiar design, the 1968 penny was quietly different from the rest. In the mid-1960s, the United States faced a critical shortage of copper, the primary material used in minting the penny. This shortage led the U.S. Mint to introduce a drastic change to the coin's composition. In 1965, the penny was struck from a copper-nickel alloy instead of solid copper, as the price of copper had risen dramatically. However, In 1968, a small number of pennies were struck with a mix of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the traditional composition for the 1-cent coin. These rare pennies, now referred to as the 1968 copper pennies, would become the prized specimens for coin collectors in the years to come. Why was this shift so important? The answer lies in the very nature of the material used. While the copper-nickel pennies from 1968 are not considered rare or particularly valuable, the pennies that were struck with the traditional copper composition are rare, and finding one in excellent condition has become a near impossible task. As a result, collectors began to scour the nation, searching for these elusive copper pennies that had been minted in limited numbers. But why were so few of these copper pennies made? In the mid-1960s, the U.S. Mint faced a massive challenge. With the rise in the price of copper, it became increasingly expensive to produce pennies using the traditional copper alloy. By 1968, the U.S. Mint had already transitioned to the copper-nickel alloy for most of its penny production. The copper pennies that were produced that year were largely a result of leftover copper blanks from earlier years being used before the Mint fully switched to the new material. This unique situation led to the creation of a limited number of 1968 copper pennies, making them a highly valuable find for coin collectors. As years passed, the story of the 1968 copper penny became more well known, and collectors began to realize just how rare these coins were. The 1968 penny wasn't just another coin. It was a symbol of a transitional period in American currency, an embodiment of a nation on the brink of major change. With so few of these pennies surviving in pristine condition, they soon began to fetch astronomical prices at auctions. Fast forward to today, and the 1968 copper penny has become one of the most sought-after coins in the numismatic world. The rarity and historical significance of this coin have caused its value to soar in recent years. In fact, depending on its condition and the current market demand, a 1968 1-cent copper penny can fetch anywhere from $65,000 to $135,000 at auction. This price range reflects not only the rarity of the coin, but also the growing interest in modern coins, particularly those with a unique and significant backstory. So, what makes the 1968 copper penny so special? It's not just the rarity of the coin itself. The historical context, the story behind its creation, and the limited number of pennies that were struck with the copper alloy all contribute to the coin's value. The 1968 penny serves as a bridge between the past and the future of American currency, and that sense of historical significance is what makes it so appealing to collectors. For those fortunate enough to find a 1968 copper penny, it's not just a coin, it's a rare piece of American history, a symbol of the country's transition into the modern era. It represents a moment in time when the United States was on the cusp of change, and it stands as a reminder of the social and political upheaval that defined the late 1960s. In the world of coin collecting, finding a 1968 copper penny in mint condition is like discovering a hidden treasure. As the years go by, the rarity of these pennies will only increase, and their value is likely to continue to climb. For those who are passionate about numismatics, the 1968 1-cent copper penny is a coin that cannot be overlooked. It's a rare, valuable, and historically significant piece of American currency that has rightfully earned its place in the pantheon of prized coins. If you ever happen to come across a 1968 copper penny, whether in a jar of loose change or an old collection, take a closer look. What may appear to be a small, insignificant coin could very well be worth a small fortune, $65,000 to $135,000, and could become the cornerstone of your numismatic collection. In the world of numismatics, the 1987 1-cent penny not immediately stand out when placed alongside rarer coins from earlier decades. After all, pennies are often seen as mundane, overlooked as mere change in the pockets of millions of Americans. Yet, the 1987 penny holds a secret, one that, over time, has transformed it from an ordinary piece of currency into a sought-after treasure. A rare set of circumstances, combined with an ever-growing interest in collectible coins, has elevated the value of this penny to an astounding level, making it a favorite among collectors today. The year 1987 was a time of significant transition in the United States. The world was recovering from the turbulence of the 1980s, and in the midst of this recovery, the economy was stable, but inflation was still a concern. The U.S. Mint, tasked with producing millions of pennies to meet the demands of everyday transactions, continued its tradition of crafting the iconic 1-cent coin, featuring the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. What makes the 1987 penny interesting, though, is not just its design or its place in the grand timeline of U.S. coinage. It's the mysterious and rare mistakes that happened during its minting process. In 1987, a small number of pennies were struck with a variety of errors that would later be recognized as incredibly valuable. But why was this specific error significant? How did this coin evolve from a simple penny to a highly sought-after collectible? At the heart of this mystery lies a unique anomaly in the minting process: the 1987 double die penny. The double die is an error that occurs when a coin is struck multiple times, and the image on the die shifts slightly between strikes. This slight misalignment causes the image to appear as if it is doubled, leading to a coin with a blurred or overlapping image. These kinds of errors are rare, and when they occur, they are highly valuable to collectors. The 1987 double die penny is one of the most famous and coveted errors in U.S. coinage. The cause of the error is still debated among numismatists, but what is known is that a very small number of these pennies were struck with the double die, creating a distinct, clear error. The obverse, or head side of the coin, shows a noticeable doubling in the lettering, particularly in the word liberty and the motto, "In God We Trust." This distinctive feature makes the 1987 penny with the double die error immediately recognizable to experienced collectors. Over the years, as more collectors began to understand the rarity of this error, the value of the 1987 double die penny skyrocketed. What was once an overlooked coin became a coveted piece of numismatic history. As the years passed, it was discovered that these pennies, especially those in high-quality condition, were worth far more than their face value. A high-grade 1987 double die penny could fetch a price well above the $100 mark, but the truly valuable ones, those in near-mint condition, began to approach prices in the thousands. Fast forward to today, and the 1987 double die penny is considered a rare find. The number of pennies struck with this error is exceedingly small, and only a select few have survived in exceptional condition. This rarity is what drives the value of the coin, and it's no surprise that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for a pristine example. Depending on the condition, the price of a 1987 1-cent penny can range from $46,000 to $95,000, with the higher-end examples fetching the most at auctions and in private sales. But what makes this coin truly remarkable is its place in the broader context of American numismatics. While many collectors seek out rare coins for their historical significance, the 1987 penny stands as a testament to the imperfection of the minting process. It highlights how even in a time of precision and technological advances, human error and mechanical anomalies can create coins that are not just valuable, but incredibly rare and unique. The 1987 double die penny represents the randomness of error, the intrigue of discovery, and the excitement of finding something of value in the most unexpected places. For collectors, finding a 1987 double die penny in excellent condition is a bit like striking gold. It is a treasure hunt that has led to great rewards for those who've dedicated their time and effort to hunting down these elusive coins. While many of the 1987 pennies are relatively common, the ones with the error are so rare that they have become nearly as desirable as more well-known coins with famous errors, like the 1943 copper penny. But how can you tell if your 1987 penny is one of the rare double die errors? The key feature to look for is the doubled lettering, particularly in Liberty and In God We Trust on the obverse. The doubling effect should be clear, and in some cases, the shift is so prominent that it's hard to miss. Additionally, the presence of this error significantly increases the coin's value, making it worth far more than the usual 1-cent face value. If you're fortunate enough to find a 1987 1-cent penny with this error, it is recommended to have the coin professionally graded by a reputable numismatic organization. Coins that are graded highly, meaning they are in excellent condition with little to no wear, can achieve higher prices in the market. As more collectors seek to obtain these rare coins, the value of the 1987 double-die penny will likely continue to appreciate, making it an excellent investment for those with an eye for rare and valuable collectibles. In the end, the 1987 1-cent penny serves as a reminder that sometimes the smallest mistakes can lead to the most valuable discoveries. Whether it's a collector's lucky find or a result of years of careful searching, the 1987 penny with the double die error stands out as one of the most intriguing and valuable coins of its time. From its humble beginnings as a simple piece of currency to its current status as a rare collectible worth $46,000 to $95,000, the 1987 penny proves that even the most ordinary of objects can hold extraordinary value if they possess the right combination of rarity, history, and significance.